Lance Fisher, Deputy Chief, Palm Bay Police Department, retired. 580 Calabria Avenue, Palm Bay, Florida. I am an FBI National Academy graduate of Section 279. I'm also the creator of Thin Blue Line Audits. I'm here today because the citizens of Palm Bay are being terrorized by a former Mascotte police officer, Sean Rollins, because you failed to do your jobs. Chief Pedersen, you failed to do your job. Lieutenant Chris Villafane, you failed to do your job. Stephanie Abrams, you failed to do your job. Every Mascotte officer that worked alongside Officer Rollins and failed to report police misconduct, especially his actions on July 3rd, 2023, you failed. On that date, Officer Sean Rollins and trainee violated the rights of Mr. Daniel Hughes. He, like any other loving husband, pulled off to the side of the road to ensure the safety of his wife. Officer Sean Rollins confronted Mr. Hughes, immediately escalated the incident, and when Mr. Hughes asked for a supervisor, Officer Rollins falsely indicated that he was the supervisor, attacked and unlawfully arrested Mr. Hughes, all while Mascotte officers failed to intervene. Like many police chiefs, Chief Pedersen validated Officer Rollins' actions by failing to do nothing. Even when Officer Rollins' police report was inconsistent with his own body camera footage. Even though all the charges against Mr. Hughes were dropped. Chief Pedersen, it's not your job to protect your officers to engage in prohibited acts. They have lawyers for that. It's your job to protect the community with transparency and truth. It's your job to protect your agency by holding road counters accountable. So the question is, why was Officer Rollins even wearing a Mascotte uniform on July 3rd? Here is Rollins' training history report from Columbia, South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy, completed on February 25th of 2021. This report outlines the termination of Rollins from Columbia, South Carolina Police PD involving misconduct. It further indicates the repeated use of excessive force in delaying and dealing with the public and or prisoners. And if that's not enough, it further states physical or psychological abuses of members of the public and or prisoners. 4 incidents, you may ask: pushed down a handcuffed female that posed no threat, forcing another person to the ground who was sitting quietly and smoking while the force was unnecessary, tackling and grabbing another individual's throat in which the force was deemed unnecessary, and grabbing and fighting and ultimately tasing a panhandler that was never told he was under arrest or detained, which the report indicates could have been avoided had he been told so. So just for fun, let's say Chief Pedersen and Stephanie Abrams couldn't get this simple report that I got in a matter of days. Could this have been done with a Google search? Here's what I found simply by Googling Officer Sean Rollins, Columbia, South Carolina. Seems like an easy step for a thorough and complete background. So in this Google check, I found this: Columbia Police Fire Officer after report that he used force repeatedly. Columbia Officer with controversial past, fired. CPD fires officer for unsatisfactory performance. These articles describe an officer that used 8 use of force incidents over a 5-month period, when other officers averaged 1 a year. 7 of those incidents were against black citizens, and yet the City of Mascotte and Mascotte Police Department still hired him. Just to be clear, I'm not above fault, and like Chief Pedersen, I failed my officers in my community. I was the Deputy Chief of Palm Bay, now retired, when Officer Rollins applied to my department, just weeks after his encounter with Mr. Hughes. See, like many rogue officers, Rollins wasn't held accountable and was able to get a new job and continue his abuse of authority against another unsuspecting community. Like the City of Mascotte, like the Mascotte Police Department, the City of Palm Bay and the Palm Bay Police Department failed to do a thorough background check, failed to do a simple Google search. I too have a chief and chief of jail that believes he must protect his officers above all else, including overprotecting an agency and a community that he serves. Palm Bay PD didn't only hire Mr. Rollins once, but twice after he left for a short period of time. Not only did we hire him for Mascotte PD, we gave him a $10,000 experience bonus. We rewarded him for his police misconduct against this very community I stand before today. On Officer Rollins' 2023 Palm Bay application, he listed Sergeant Chris Villafane as his supervisor. If Lieutenant Villafane was contacted, and what type of recommendation was provided? Was the incident from January 3rd even mentioned? Was there a request for his complaints and discipline, and if so, were those provided? On his 2025 Palm Bay application, Stephanie Abrams is listed as his supervisor. Were you contacted? Did you disclose his South Carolina training records indicating termination? Did you disclose that he had a pending lawsuit for police brutality from an incident while he was employed with the City of Mascotte? So let's refocus on the incident of January 3rd. I've read some comments that Mr. Daniel Hughes should have just complied with the lawful orders of Officer Sean Rollins, the unlawful orders of Officer Sean Rollins, that he should have ignored his request by his first supervisor, that he saw firsthand Officer Rollins and his demeanor, that he should have left his wife, Councilwoman Robin Hughes, alone on the side of the road. If he hadn't stayed to ensure the safety of Councilwoman Hughes, would this have been him or her? Would she have been grabbed by the throat, a thumb driven into her neck, and struck in the face with a forearm? all while being handcuffed and pregnant. Thank you, sir. Thank you. After asking for a supervisor who was on the way and on the phone with 911, Tamara Hatcher still had her window broken by Officer Sean Rollins. He intervened after the initial officer tried to let her go. Tamara Hatcher, a Palm Bay resident, pregnant while handcuffed, was choked and struck in the face. Like Mascotte officers, Palm Bay officers failed to intervene and protect the community they serve. Like Mascotte officers, Palm Bay officers never stopped to de-escalate, allowing Officer Rollins to abuse his authority. And for the comments I saw shaming Councilwoman Hughe for the suing of the very city that she demands accountability from, I would ask, how many times as a citizen was she and her husband ignored? How many times did she try and get this resolved before getting elected to use her voice for change? I speak from experience as a retired deputy chief, speaking against the very agency I worked for 20 years. Have been berated, shamed, insulted by the very leadership I worked alongside for many years. These city and police departments have a duty to intervene and hold their officers accountable. When they fail, their officers and communities suffer. Councilwoman Hughes is not to blame. Chief Pedersen, Stephanie Abrams, and anyone else that failed in the hiring of Officer Rollins failed. Blame the officers that worked alongside Officer Rollins that believe in this cult-like thin blue line and family false narratives. The citizens of Mascotte are victims of negligent hiring by their city and police department. If this city chooses to let this lawsuit go to trial instead of settling outside court, I look forward to seeing what the jury will reward. Because you should be worried once they review what I provide today. But don't stop worrying there. Other lawsuits will follow, not from Mascotte citizens, but from the Palm Bay citizens that realize you failed them as well. Lastly, what steps has the police department and city taken to minimize the incidents, such as what took place on January 3rd, from happening in the future? Has there been additional revisions to the duty to intervene policies? Are there safe avenues for officers to report police misconduct against their fellow officers? Is there an avenue outside the walls of the police department to review use of force and complaints against officers? Accountability starts at the top. Had Officer Rollins' actions been thoroughly investigated, reports meticulously reviewed for inconsistencies, Mr. Hughes and Councilwoman Hughes' complaints and concerns would have been followed up with, or had they been followed up with the same vigor as Chief Pedersen's drive to get Mr. Hughes terminated, then my guess we wouldn't be here today. Again, it's not police chiefs' responsibility to protect their officers from misconduct. It's their job to be transparent with the truth and protect the community they serve. I call upon you, City Manager Reno, to hold Chief Pedersen accountable. Find an outside chief that will move the Mascotte Police Department forward in a positive direction. A chief that will hold their officers accountable when called upon, not one that will justify their officers' actions because the thin blue line demands it. If your city manager will not hold Chief Pedersen accountable, then hold her accountable. This incident lawsuit could have and should have been avoided with accountability. This embarrassment should never have occurred, but it wasn't and it did. And now to prevent it from happening again. Learn from your 2015 incidents where a police chief's failures did cost Mascotte money. Chief Pedersen was hired during a time when Mascotte PD needed a leadership change due to a pending lawsuit. That time is here again. I urge the Mascotte community to stand alongside Councilwoman Hughes, stand up against police misconduct, stand up against the very leadership that protects bad apples. Be proud that you have a city council member that will ask the tough questions and strive for change. Be proud that she cares more about an entire community than one individual. I wish Councilwoman Hughes was on the City of Palm Bay dais. Then and maybe then our council members wouldn't ignore the actions of Officer Rollins and take the action needed to protect their community. I am proud of the profession I served and proud of and support those I serve that serve it well. I believe in accountability of those that wear the badge and in accountability when police leadership fails their officers and community. I'm happy to answer any questions or concerns. I can provide any contact information as well to anyone that wishes to speak to me now or in the future. I appreciate your time. Do you have any questions for me? Anderson. Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Before we get into our consent agenda, Councilwoman Hughes, I'd like to address